Well, Herbert, thank you so much for having coming on board. We had a great a meeting last week, and I realized very quickly that as much as a lawyer, I know very little about bankruptcy, and you definitely educated me. So before we dive into it, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've been an attorney practicing for about 35 years, primarily in Southern California, but I actually started in Northern California, in San Francisco and Oakland. After finishing at UC Berkeley, I worked in personal injury, real estate, product liability, intellectual property, and since about 2008, primarily in bankruptcy and debt relief. I've done plaintiff and defense, although for the most of my career, I'd say I've done more defense than plaintiff. Working with a debtor, you could consider debtor either plaintiff or defense, depending on the circumstances. And I've handled just about everything except family, criminal, probate. Those are things that I don't do. But bankruptcy is primarily federal law. Debt relief can be either federal or state, so I practice in both state and federal courts. Now primarily in LA, and then somewhat in Orange County and San Bernardino Riverside.
So got me thinking, so what made you pick bankruptcy? Why bankruptcy?
Well, it wasn't something that I picked. It kind of picked me. As I say, I had practiced law for a long time, and I've been doing bankruptcy for about 12 or so years. So I moved from Los Angeles to Long Beach, and I ran into the attorneys at the Long Beach Bar Association, happened to find somebody who was actually being sued. He was being sued by an adverse party in a case that he had handled. He was a consultant, and he was being sued by one of the parties in the case. So he hired me to defend him on the case. I was able to get rid of the case within about 6 months. It just so happened that he was a bankruptcy attorney. He asked me to join his firm, and I did so. I worked with him for about 2 years. Then I went out on my own, doing primarily bankruptcy and debt relief. We were still in the throes of the financial crash, so there was quite a bit of work to be done at that time, and I've continued since.